The MonsterVerse is a complicated series. As it continues to expand, the lore and timeline of this universe have gotten very messy. This, coupled with the wide amount of fan canon and headcanon being spread as actual canon, has resulted in a lot of chaos as to what the MonsterVerse's true timeline really is. In this series, I'm going to be diving into the lore of the MonsterVerse as it was originally intended. So for now, I will be taking a look only at the absolute canon of the MonsterVerse, which means only the films themselves. Special features will be considered to support this discussion, while keeping in mind their limited relevance. So in order to build the proper timeline of the MonsterVerse, I've paused and read every newspaper, every article, every bit of redacted text in the credits, every bit of data presented on screen throughout the film, and every juicy piece of lore which might be hiding within the discussions being had and the scenes being shown. So today, let's start out by taking a look only at Godzilla 2014. I will be building the lore in chronological order for each film, following their release dates in the real world. And so for now, let's take a look at the prehistory of Godzilla 2014 and the tragic story of Adam, the original Godzilla. In this one, I will take you from millions of years ago all the way up until 1954. And there we will leave the discussion to be resumed at another day. Millions of years ago, myth ran wild. The Earth used to be 10 times more radioactive than it is in the modern day, allowing for enormous creatures to roam the planet. One species was at the peak of their food chain, the top of a primordial ecosystem, the apex predators. Not much is known about this species other than that they are atomic in nature. They seem to feast upon and harbor high levels of radiation inside. One member of that species, later dubbed Adam, was hunted down and killed by a parasitic organism that laid eggs inside it. These eggs feasted upon its internal radiation, killing it in what would become the modern-day Philippines. At some point, either before this creature died or potentially after, a newer member of that same species was born, one that seems special amongst its kind, a creature called Godzilla. While it's unknown how old Godzilla is, he is confirmed to be millions of years older than humanity. As radiation levels on the surface began to subside, these massive creatures, for now dubbed MUTOs, massive unidentified terrestrial organisms, began hibernating deeper in the oceans and further underground, where they could soak up radiation from the Earth's core. As we travel from BC to CE, the bones in the Philippines sank into the ground, eventually becoming buried in a cave. Myths started to form as early societies and peoples discovered or encountered Godzilla and other MUTO. At some point, Godzilla himself disappeared deep into the ocean to hibernate for an unknown period of time. This brings us to our first event in the MonsterVerse timeline, an event which can be gleaned during the opening credits of the movie. This event has some ambiguity to it. The MonsterVerse starts out with what seems to be an immediate continuity error. While I will address when continuity errors occur, in some instances I will attempt to speculate on how these can fit into the canon, and in others I'll just simply address that this is a mistake. In this case, the MonsterVerse timeline starts on February 15th, 1898. A report from what appears to be Monarch was sent to Washington, D.C., marked from Key West, Florida, seemingly dated February 15th, 1898. It's reported that the USS Maine was blown up with many killed and wounded. The report asks for war vessels to be sent, as it's stated that the ship was destroyed by a creature. This sparks many reports that the sinking was not an accident and instead was a cover-up, seemingly blaming the incident on Spain. This references the real USS Maine explosion in Havana Harbor, which led to the Spanish-American War despite a lack of evidence to prove what caused the explosion. In the MonsterVerse, Monarch was not established in 1898, which means it's entirely possible Monarch has gone back and retroactively stamped this report, as it was one of the first documented reports of a creature destroying a war vessel. Jumping forward, we land on March 12th, 1920. A paper seemingly seemingly refers to the H-1 submarine sinking off the American west coast, killing a crew of 25. While no details are given, it's likely this was caused by a monster. In 1943, an unknown event causes potential radiation contamination to an undisclosed location, which will be referenced later. Now we get into a little bit of ambiguity, as all of this happens in the late 1940s without a date. After a series of unexplained attacks in the 1940s, many of which happened during World War II, the US government first becomes aware of the possibility that MUTOs exist, and they begin to investigate. Once again, in this case, we're using the term MUTO as the MonsterVerse intended, massive unidentified terrestrial organisms. Now we arrive in 1945, where the atomic bomb is invented, first tested on July 16th with the Trinity atomic bomb test. On August 6, 1945, the United States drops an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Ishiro Serizawa's father was present at the explosion. Remember, we're not taking into consideration expanded canon material, which means we don't know this man's name, nor do we know when Serizawa himself was born. All we know is that his father was present. On July 24th, 1946, Operation Crossroads Baker Test occurs. In 1948, the Carmichael Caves are explored at Site 4807. It is determined this is a suspected burrow site for a MUTO. A letter to the CIA explains that in late 1951, a government worker was sent to Washington, D.C. to help establish the Monarch program, a currently off-books program in need of expanding. However, we're never given a date on when this program was founded or why. This CIA employee was sent to operate offices, dictating agency weapons, devices, equipment, and other needs in order to help Monarch accomplish their respective missions. The first agency assignment was to create a plan to help Monarch research efficiently within an agency structure and to secure high results in the face of potential foreign competition. In 1952, on July 14th, construction begins on the USS Nautilus. The US Nautilus, or US Nautilus, was the first nuclear submarine ever constructed, and many Godzilla fans already know this holds a special place in the MonsterVerse history, as this vehicle is eventually the thing that awakens Godzilla. On November 1st, the first hydrogen bomb test Ivy Mike occurs. A few undated events happen before 1954 here. The Argonne National Laboratory in Lamont, Illinois was converted into a Monarch outpost. Here it seems Monarch begins testing with radiation. Following this, Project Monarch is in full swing. Thank you guys all so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you liked this video and want to see more like it, please make sure to comment, like, and share this video to show some support. I have had a lot of fun breaking down the MonsterVerse lore and cannot wait to continue to share this series with you, but I need your help in making this series a success. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. By supporting the Patreon, that is the most direct way to support this channel and to make sure that I can continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.